to a one-day fixture across the Premier Cricket and the Geelong Cricket Association, of course the Bellarine Peninsula Cricket Association, on a great day for Geelong cricket. Joining me at the table of knowledge as usual, yes, last week he batted for nearly 70 overs, maybe exactly 70 overs, and made a top score of over 70 runs. So he's returning to top form with the bat as well as with the words. Tim Michell.
Yeah, thanks, Rollo. Thanks for that little pump up there. It's always nice to hear when you make a few runs, and obviously it was a great feeling last week to get back to the club, but looking forward to stepping up now, getting the chance in A grade today, and it's a really important fixture for our boys against Jan Juck in the one-day game, so we'll have to up the ante. As you said, 72 overs last week. I batted for 70, so we'll struggle to even play that many overs for both sides today. I think 40 overs a side on the Bellarine, so 80 overs between it, and if I'm going to bat for that long, then I'm going to struggle to get, obviously, a winning score on the board for the boys. So really important day for a lot of sides on the Bellarine today, and that's certainly something that we're going to have a chat about a bit later.
Well, it's always a crucial game, the last round before the Christmas New Year break. And in Premier Cricket, Geelong are playing Ringwood, their old adversaries, down at the Geelong Cricket Ground in a one-day fixture today, commencing at 11 a.m. And then they resume on January the 9th, when in the country round, Geelong will be playing Melbourne on the MCG. That's correct. Geelong and Melbourne on the MCG. Looking forward to that one. But first of all, back to the Geelong Cricket Ground and their old adversaries, Ringwood. It's going to be a great battle. Geelong last week, 210-run winners over a very, very disappointing Northcote. Jeremy Hart took his season's total to 19 wickets, taking another 4 last week. Mark Carson still leads the aggregate wicket takers in the Premier Cricket First Division with 23 wickets, and Liam Buchanan leads the aggregate running makers with 590 runs. So Geelong go into this game, Tim Michell, today against Ringwood in very good, solid performances.
Yeah, they certainly have put the form on the board. I think it's the last 5 weekends that the Cats have actually won of action. So Damien Shanahan's side putting together a really good form line coming towards Christmas, and we just hope that it doesn't drop away now and then start to drop away. But everything is really positive down there for the Cats at the moment, playing some really good cricket, as you say. A few individuals putting their hand up, and isn't it great to see Jeremy Hart, a guy who was spinning in their second 11 last year, now having the chance to train with Victoria and really putting his name up. And we need a quality spinner to not only be playing for Geelong, but obviously putting their hand up to play for our country as well. I know Nathan Horrocks struggled a little bit down in Adelaide, Rollo, and we're not going to put the raps or put any sort of pressure on Jeremy Hart in that sort of frame, but really good to see him in some great touch and spinning the Cats to victories, which is exactly what we want. The game against Ringwood today going to be very, very interesting, because Ringwood are a side, there's not too many names that a lot of people would know around the state level, but going to be very interesting to see how they do front up, because they have lost their last 2 games, still sitting top of the table, but a chance for the Cats to get some retribution for that grand final lost last year and make a big statement just before Christmas.
How effective do you think, Tim, it is that Ringwood have lost their last 2 games in a row, and coming down to the Geelong Cricket Ground, they won't be too confident?
No, I don't. I wouldn't say that they'd be too not confident, Rollo, coming down the highway. Obviously, it's not a great form line to take in, but yeah, they'll almost write the game off against North Melbourne, where North Melbourne 2 weekends ago made 418 as a little bit of an aberration. They still made 270 chasing, so the form line's not all that too bad for Ringwood, but they'll certainly know that it's a really important fixture for them, and the Cats are going to have to come to play, because it's going to be 2 very willing sides out there today, and I think it's going to be a fantastic one-day fixture. But just on the form we've seen from Geelong, especially in the shorter form of the game, the 2020, obviously taking out the club championship a few weeks ago, you'd have to say with a lot of really good attacking batsmen in that side that the Cats will enter as slight favourites, and I'd be backing them in for a win.
Go the Geelong Cats in Premier Cricket as they take on Ringwood down at the Geelong Cricket Ground, commencing at 11 o'clock this morning. It'll be a great game. Turning our attention to the Bellarine Peninsula Cricket Association, some upsets last round. Colindina suffered their first loss of the season. Bowen Heads went down. What was the excuse, Tim?
I don't think there was any excuses made at all. The talk around from all the boys was just there was a lot of disappointment, and they just said really not good enough, and know that we need to respond when we get out there today against Jan Juck. I know I probably shouldn't use the we, but yes, I am a Seagulls boy, and yeah, looking to turn that form line around just before Christmas, deliver an early present to the club.
And congratulations to the Newcombe Bulls for their win. First win of the season. It's always great to taste victory for the first time in the year. Round December 19th today gets underway. Bowen Heads in 7th place on the ladder take on Jan Juck in 8th place down at the Bowen Heads Village Park. This will be a close one. Ian Ligo and his boys from Jan Juck, they'll be fired up.
Yeah, I think both sides are going to come in really fired up, as you said, Graham. There's two sides that really need to turn it around, as I've said a couple of times already about Barwon Heads, but Jan Juck not in the greatest form either. These are two sides that I thought at the start of the year would be pushing maybe even for the minor premiership, but Barwon Heads sitting 7th at the moment, Jan Juck 1 spot behind them in 8th, so it's a chance for one of them to step into the top 6 at Christmas and take some momentum through, but it's going to be probably the most important fixture of the Ballerine Peninsula Cricket Association this weekend, especially for those two sides. There are some important games, but considering that both of these two sides were fairly fancied coming into the season, crucial that both of them get a win and take some form into Christmas.
In A grade of the BPCA, first plays third, Colindina playing the Drysdale Hawks. Both sides beaten last round. Who is going to rebound with a victory?
Oh, if I had to toss up now, you'd think Colindina. I haven't really tipped against the Cobras all year, and they've been playing some fantastic cricket. Yes, they were a little bit unlucky, you'd have to say, against Wellington last week. They were fairly gallant in defeat. Cade Norkie, their captain, had to bat about 7 or 8 because he had a dislocated thumb from wicket keeping. Nathan Walter, a young guy who stepped up to the A grade this year, broke his hand at a party on the Saturday night of the first weekend of the game. Actually went in to have surgery on the last Saturday, so he missed out as well. So they only had the 9 wickets and fell about 18 runs short in the end against Wellington. So credit to the Wallabies because it was a fantastic win for them last weekend. Drysdale will get a few back because their team was a little bit undermanned last weekend, but I'm still going to favour Colindina to win that one on their home deck.
And what could be for a battle of the wooden spoon? Ocean Grove take on Newcombe Bulls.
Yeah, another one where two sides really, really need a win. Not to really set themselves up for the top 6, but just to put a little bit of respectability in and get some confidence towards Christmas. Obviously, Newcombe with a huge win over Barwon Heads last weekend. I'd almost say they go in as favourites. I think I tipped them a few weeks ago for an upset against Barrable, and they got hammered. So I'm hoping that's not the case for the Bulls because they were fantastic last weekend. Really deserved that win against Barwon Heads, and they carry all the form line in. Ocean Grove almost scraped over the line against Port Arlington, but I'm going to favour the Bulls in this one, Rollo.
And on the corner of Boat and Sproat, Port Arlington with Damien Vasilou in outstanding form taking on Wellington.
Yeah, Damien Vasilou is certainly the key to that side, and he showed it last weekend. His wickets crumbled around him, finished at 111 not out, chasing only about 190. So he is the real key with both bat and ball. He's been fantastic as well this season, really stepping up in the absence of a few of their placemen. Dean DeLuca's been out injured, Liam Jackson out injured, and I'm not sure whether we're going to see him this year because he's had the clean up on both the knee and the ankle, I believe. So not too sure when we're going to see him, but it's certainly going to be another interesting game with Wellington. Obviously a huge win for them last weekend, but I still think Port Arlington with Vass, as you're saying, fantastic form. I think the coach will carry them to another win. And
in a word, Queenscliff or Anglesea?
Oh, it's going to be another really tight one, Rollo, but Anglesea sitting second on the table. They continue to surprise, and I'll go for the bouncing Kangaroos.
That's a roundup of BPCA. We'll take a break and be back with more on the Geelong Cricket Show after this.